Welcome to my first modded Minecraft 1.19 100 days. The Ender Dragon, the Void Worm, the Warden, and the Wither are the 4 bosses that I have to defeat within those days. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing and hit the bell notification as well. Anyways, let's get into the video. Chapter 1: The Start of a New Life. Day 1 started with me gathering wood, punching hay bales, and getting free iron with a slow attacking weapon. By the way, with better combat mod, you won't be able to crit quite often, even with an axe or sword. With the 3 iron that I obtained from the iron golem, I decided to search for a cave. Well, I've managed to find one, but I didn't record anything while searching the cave because, first of all, it will not be a comfortable experience, and I think I will only record the caves once the chunks have rendered in. After spending 2 whole days in the mines, I finally managed to get back to the surface and also bred my 2 flutters that I found in the cave. With the 6 diamonds that I obtained from mining, I made a diamond pick. Then I wanted to make a weapon from the Simply Swords mod. I decided to make the glaive. Storage is very important, so on day 4 I decided to make 2 barrels. After chopping down a couple trees and gnawing on a piece of bread, it's time for some agricultural work, like terraforming, and then hoeing the ground, not forgetting to add small patches of water around the field. Well, the place where I wanted to place my field, it's not really that great, but I will soon make it better. Trust me on this one. I brought my flutter into the field with me because I was staying up all night while making this farm, and monsters are obviously gonna sneak up on me. My flutter is pretty good at defending me since it can't be hit by melee monsters because it flies in the air. More monsters keep on haunting the place, so I had to quickly deal with them. Day 5, the farm was finally complete. Chapter 2: Cave Danger. I took my flutter with me because I'm gonna be doing some mining. While making my way down the cave, I embarrassingly died. Failed the water bucket clutch twice. I made it into the caves, and I can tell you it was not really a comfortable experience. There are just so many things that wanted to kill me. I found a diamond. Just one though. Really, Minecraft? Can you even make a 2 vein or 4 vein? Then it was a sad day. My flutter died to the lava. May he rest in peace. From 2022 to 2022. Unnamed flutter. However, I didn't allow the death of my pet to slow me down, so I went out and collected all the ores I can find. Then I died a stupid and embarrassing way. How genius! By this time it was already day 8. I also went back into the mines to mine obsidian. I didn't bring any pets with me, fearing that it might end up in the same fate as my flutter. After mining a bunch of obsidian, I found the lush cave that I've been to. I also found the 2 flutters here that I bred. For the rest of the mining footage, I was just basically killing monsters and mining ores, so I decided to die in the lava because keep inventory was on. Chapter 3: A Tarantula Hawk. In the last episode, I left off on day 9. Right now it's still day 9, but night. The reason why I didn't sleep because I went out to do some spider hunting. During the dawn of day 10, I trapped a zombie. I decided to name him Test Subject 001. I don't really know why, but I didn't have a name tag, so I just called him that. I wanted to find a desert, so on day 10 I crafted a nature's compass. During the dusk of day 10, I found the jungle while traveling to the desert. Once I was at the desert, I found 2 rattlesnakes. Well, I tried to attack one, then it attacked me, and then I got poisoned, which brought me all the way down to half a heart. My chances of living were slim, so I pretty much accepted my fate. With those spider's eyes that I obtained from the spiders, I wanted to tame a tarantula hawk, which I successfully did. Tarantula hawks are actually better in combat than flutters, because they have a powerful poison that brings monsters all the way down to half their HP. Arthropods, however, like spiders and silverfish, they will be paralyzed by the poison. Before ending day 10, I decided to collect a couple tomatoes. Chapter 4, The Nether. Okay, skipping to day 12, nothing special happened on day 11. All I was doing was just browsing items from the mods in the JI menu. While continuing with my agricultural work, I was planning on making a tendon whip. A tendon whip is crafted with 3 elastic tendons and 3 dropper claws, and of course a stick. Well, a tendon whip is not easy to obtain. First, I will have to find a murmur, which drops the elastic tendon. I have 2 elastic tendons, which means I already killed a murmur, but I will need to find one, since you need 3 in order to complete it. Murmurs spawn below Y-30, which means I have to go into the deepest part of the cave, which had enough space for a murmur to spawn. After what seemed like forever, a murmur finally spawned. Well, I quickly dealt with it. It was not that difficult to beat. Alright, day 14, and it's time to do some Nether expedition time. But where I came out of the Nether portal, the whole place is terrible. Seriously, there's barely any space to literally explore. So I briefly went into spectator mode and dug my way to the nearest open space. I know that I may have cheated a little bit, but I'm not a Minecraft pro, and I did not cheat too much that would ruin the whole gameplay. When I made it down, I realized there was actually another fortress nearby. I didn't notice it while I was briefly using spectator mode, because, you know, I didn't want to cheat too much. While exploring the Nether fortress, I located the blaze spawner, and there were just a bunch of wither skeletons camping the area, so I had to deal with them as fast as I can because I was low on food. I made it in and killed my first blaze and collected my first ever blaze rod. After a bunch of deaths and blaze slaying, I finally left the blaze spawner and ran away as fast as I can. I eventually found a warp forest. I needed to kill some endermen because I was actually planning to defeat the ender dragon as early as I possibly can. Why? I don't know. I just felt like it. I seriously hate crimson mosquitoes. Within that whole expedition, I only found and killed 1 enderman. Seriously. Chapter 5, Preparations. On the night of day 15, I set out to do some ender hunting with my tarantula hawk. I'm using YoFPS shader, that's why there are these strange light things under the mobs. I just have no idea how to remove them, and it does not really look that good, honestly. I only gained 2 ender pearls from that whole expedition. Alright, day 16. I decided to craft some amethyst armor. I wanted to kill the ender dragon as fast as I can, but I only have 1 diamond, which proves that I am broke. So amethyst armor was the only option. After crafting the full set, I decided to add a texture pack, which removes the pumpkin blur. I know it may be a bit cheaty, but I know that I'm gonna die, so I just put it on. Preparation continuation. I decided to upgrade my glaive to have sharpness 1. I know it's not much, but at least it will help me a little bit in my fight. Before day 17, I decided to go ender hunting. Well, it's a good thing that the game was generous for me and gave me 4 ender pearls for my troubles. Chapter 6, Draconic Decimation. And now, the journey begins. The stronghold was located in the ocean, in a coral reef to be exact. I made it inside the stronghold, and when I looked around, I realized this is the stupidest stronghold ever. I went into spectator mode and found out that the hallway to the end portal was literally out of sight. I went back into survival and broke my way into the other hallway of the stronghold. Wow, Great job, Mojang, at generating strongholds. After setting my spawn point, it's time to battle the end. I managed to destroy 3 of the crystals, also experiencing a near-death experience. And a death experience. I needed to kill an enderman for an ender pearl. With the ender pearl, I did an ender pearl block clutch, which helped me a lot, especially in destroying the 4th crystal. My aiming is absolute garbage. It took me a while to destroy the 5th crystal. With the 6th crystal destroyed, I also died. Yes, that's how bad I am at Minecraft. On the 7th one, I also died. Yes, this is why I placed the bed near the end portal so I can get back there quickly. After a while, I finally destroyed the 8th and 9th. I finally destroyed the 10th crystal, which was not recorded. Now, it's time for the final battle. Well, I got too close to the head and nearly died. The rest of the fight, however, was easy. Except for the part where she breathed dragon breath into the portal frame. With the last hit, I finally defeated the Ender Dragon. Okay, to answer the question why I wanted to defeat the dragon, I wanted my own dragon. The Dragon Mounts mod allows me to have my very own pet dragon. I hatch my egg back at the overworld. Chapter 7: The Water Dragon. By this time, it was already day 19. The dragon I wanted was a water dragon, so I prepared the location to hatch my dragon egg. Also, for most of day 19, I just spent the day staring at the egg. On day 20, I realized something. I needed food to tame my dragon, or else he will just be roaming around, untamed, and will probably be gone by the time I return with food. But little did I realize that you actually can use any kind of raw food to tame a dragon. I just learned it the hard way. I killed all the cod I could find. I'm not even kidding. The hatching process took so long. It took from afternoon until night. But if you have enough patience to wait that long, you will be rewarded with your very own adorable pet dragon. Literally, making your dragon grow is so easy. Just spam fish on him. Chapter 8: The Hunt for a Saddle. Continuing on day 21, I decided to craft a special mob capturing tool. I use this to absorb my dragon into it so I can transport him anywhere and wherever I want. I wanted to ride my dragon, but I realized I needed a stupid saddle in order to ride him, and in all my days of living, I've never found a single saddle. During dusk, I went in search of a desert, hoping to find a desert temple to get a saddle. I just hope that the game is nice to me and will give me a saddle in one of the 4 chests inside the temple. Using my nature's compass, I traveled by boat. Well, if you look up in the top left, that the biome I set is ocean. Remember the last time I was hunting cod? Well, it's still set to the ocean biome. And I literally traveled all the way to the ocean biome, wasting precious time. Well, I gathered up all of my brain cells and selected desert. But when I arrived to the desert, this is the stupidest desert I've ever seen. It's more like a beach than a desert. Seriously, Minecraft, will you even generate things? I purposely drowned so I can get back to my base, because I had enough of this. I selected desert, and finally we're gonna go to the desert, where we've been in part 2. I explored the desert all day just to find a desert temple. I eventually found one and went inside it. I looted the chests and found 2 gapples and a saddle. Finally, I can ride my dragon. Man, this is the most fun I've had in days. I also purposely fell off a tall jungle tree so I can get back. Chapter 9: The Treasures of the End Cities. I traveled back to the End Portal so I can find an End City to loot because I'm having terrible RNG with diamonds, so I'm just gonna get the diamond armor from them. I made it back to the place where I died 3 times. I made it to the Chores Forest and End Barrens. The only problem is that I don't have a lot of render distance, so it will take some time for me to find an End City. I finally found an End City. It's probably day 24 by now, but I didn't check, so let's just assume. I got a good look at the End City, and oh my goodness, this is possibly the smallest End City I've ever seen. Really, Minecraft? How bad is your... The tower had no loot whatsoever, so I immediately went for the ship. I first of all stole the dragon head, then looted the chest with diamond leggings, with cursive binding. The first chest also had an OP shovel. There apparently was a bigger End City that was close to the first End City I found. I struggled a lot with this second End City because there were just a bunch of shulkers and mimic cubes guarding it. The first chest I opened had nothing good in it, but before conquering the rest of the tower, I decided to tackle the end ship first. One of the chests had so much gold and a really good helmet, plus some iron and a golden cutlass. Right? A golden cutlass! Yeah, I'm not too excited about it. It also had a saddle apparently. I crafted my first shulker box because my inventory was full. The second chest had 2 helmets with pretty decent enchantments. I then purposely died in the void to get back home. I crafted 6 more shulker boxes for extra backpacks. Chapter 10: Chores. Day 26 I was busy farming, breeding my cows, and also got a librarian villager. I traded him for books. Day 27. This is how it looks like when I'm fighting with a glaive. Using my OP shovel, on the night of day 27, I began terraforming. I also started to work on my farm for wheat. Continuing on day 28, I began working on the irrigation system. And then after hoeing the ground, I finally began planting the seeds. By day 29, I expanded my cow farm. Then I started working on my villager breeding area. On day 30, I harvested my sugarcane. Chapter 11: Trading, Agriculture, and Upgrades. Day 31 started with me earning money. Bought a bookshelf from the librarian and placed the bookshelf in my enchanting area. I then trapped the villager in a boat and placed him into the villager breeding area. I then crafted a bunch of oak fences in order to build a sheep pen on day 32. I then set out to find some sheep. But when I found the sheep, I struggled a lot trying to get them, and also dying. I managed to find 2 sheep that were literally hiding from me in the forest. I got them into the sheep pen and bred them. I also stole some wool from these weird market things. I then crafted a bunch of beds and placed them in my villager breeding area. Day 33, I harvested my crops. I also bred the villagers, however I didn't notice my camera was actually off, so yeah. Day 34, creeper extermination, sheep breeding, and harvesting. Day 35, I found a pillager outpost, and the people didn't seem to agree with me. After clearing the onslaught, I freed the allays and checked the tower. I found a channeling book, 3 onion crates, and the chest mostly had a bunch of carrots. So the reason why I went exploring, because I wanted to find a cave and try to mine as many diamonds, because I'm having terrible RNG with diamonds in the cave that I've been to. So I'm just going to do some exploring. But I got distracted and I wanted a pet mantis shrimp. So I went to the coral reef, dived, and tried to find a mantis shrimp. I found one pretty quickly, but I needed tropical fish. So I did some tropical fish hunting. It took me all night until day 36 to find a mantis shrimp. When I found one, I tried my best to tame him, but he was really greedy and took more than half of my fish. I was also wearing a respiration helmet, that's why it was a lot easier for me to go underwater, and the respiration helmet I got from the entity looting. Since I'm quite far away from home, I needed a second mob capturing tool. We'll just call the mob capturing tool MCT. Well, it's crafted with 6 leather, 2 glass, and 1 diamond, and kangaroos drop hide that I can use to make leather. So look away now if you're an animal lover. Don't say I didn't warn you. I crafted the hide into leather, and I realized I need glass, which I conveniently don't have. I quickly craft a furnace because nightfall is approaching, and I really need the glass ASAP. I crafted the MCT, and I'm out of here. I arrived back home and placed my mantis shrimp near one of the village huts. I then crafted a crimson mosquito larva on day 37. I also took out my capsid block from killing an enderiophage from the end, and placed the crimson mosquito larva inside it, and it transformed into the mysterious worm, which we're gonna need in order to fight the voidworm boss. Later, I went to the beach to kill some lobsters, not to eat, but I needed those lobster tails in order to tame a mimic octopus. Why? I just want one, and it's pretty cute, honestly. After that whole lobster skirmish, I crafted a fletching table. I wanted a Fletcher villager because I needed emeralds, and my farm is not really growing typically fast. With the 3 onion crates that I obtained, I placed them near my farm. After smacking the villagers' faces with bread, I chose one of the villagers because I'm going to be building him a hut. Day 38, I began on terraforming. I also wanted to build one of the villager trading huts. Well, it took me a little while to figure out the design for the hut, and when I got one that I was happy with, I placed my villager inside. I wanted this guy to be a Fletcher, so we can make a bunch of emeralds through him. Day 39, I placed a bed in the Fletcher hut. Then I started working on the second hut. I wanted this hut to be home to a librarian villager where he will trade me mending books, which I desperately need. After a little bit of resetting, I managed to get a silk touch for 6 emeralds. Well, I didn't want silk touch, I need mending. After a few more trading resets, I got mending for the cheap price of 10 emeralds. Thanks to the Fletcher trading, I was able to obtain 2 mending books. I put mending on my diamond helmet with protection 4. I crafted so many sticks in order to trade with my Fletcher to give me all that money. I also bought a couple bookshelves to add to my enchanting area. Before day 40, I traded the Fletcher until he ran out of emeralds. I then bought one measly bookshelf. My Fletcher villager was still bankrupt, so I traded with my farmer villager. I decided to build my farmer villager his very own hut. After I finished the hut, I traded with my Fletcher villager again. I then bought more bookshelves to add to my enchanting area. I placed my farmer villager inside his hut. Day 41, I wanted to complete my enchanting area, so I traded with my Fletcher villager as much as I can, traded, and crafted some bookshelves. At night, I completed the enchanting area. I also made a grindstone so I can remove some garbage enchants. First, I added unbreaking and protection to my diamond leggings, also protection and unbreaking to my amethyst chestplate, protection, unbreaking, and depth strider to my boots. I also got bored of only using a glaive, so I decided to craft another weapon called the rapier. The first rapier had sharpness 4 and the second one had sharpness 3. I kind of hope for equal enchantments, however. I can use 2 rapiers in both main hand and offhand. Man, I had lots of fun doing this. It was actually because of better combat that this was possible. Chapter 12, House Construction. Day 42. I started to plan on building my house. I didn't like the location of the Plains village because I don't really like savannas, so I chose a location specifically for it. You will see later. For the roof of my house, I wanted spruce planks. I used my nature's compass to find a spruce taiga in order to get those chocolate planks. On my way to the taiga, I found a ruined portal. Its loot was not good, but it was not really that bad either. I arrived at the taiga by night. There were already monsters spawning there, so I quickly chopped as many trees as I can before leaving. Day 43, I planted my spruce saplings. And yes, here we go, trading for emeralds with my Fletcher villager. Yippee! I promise this will probably be the last time I'll be telling you that I am trading with my Fletcher villager. I then traded for a mending book and added it to my chestplate. Day 44 was mostly filled with chores. Night of day 44, I went back into the mines. However, I didn't go too deep. I just wanted some cobblestone and coal so I can smelt the glass and also probably use the stone for some other architectural work of arts. Day 45, I started gathering up building materials. The location of my house is near the ocean and near the village, but it's also in a plains biome, and this area I like more. And it's time for terraforming because I need space to build my house. After terraforming, construction begins. However, during the middle of construction, I forgot to bring sand. Construction goes on, and on, and on. And even while building the roof, I ran out of spruce. Skipping forward, lots of internal and external suffering was involved. Day 49. Yes, I know, I have skipped some of the days, but it was just mostly me doing building stuff, and I didn't really want to show myself only doing building for the whole day. So, yeah, digging out some sand, and going to smelt them to make glass, which I need for my aquarium. At night, I went skeleton hunting, because the stupid spruce saplings were growing too slow. Alright, we're halfway! Day 50. I went back to the taiga because I need more spruce planks, and the spruce saplings barely gave me any wood. So, it's time to return. After a while, I arrived back home, and I started to work on my aquarium. Why do I want an aquarium, you ask? Well, I like fish, and I like water, I like sea plants, and everything else is basically marine life. So, yeah. Day 51, more internal and external suffering was involved on building the roof. The roof was really difficult to build. After a while, I got the design that I was happy with. A little more glass, and the house is finally complete. This is actually the first house I've ever built in survival without ever watching a tutorial on how to build it. Day 53, I added some decorations outside the house. Chapter 13, City Looting. At night, I decided to return to the end. I decided to loot an end city in order to get a chestplate, boots, and diamonds. Okay, let me explain. Amethyst armor in the Easy Emerald Tools mod cannot be converted into netherite armor, so I will still need diamond armor in order to convert them into netherite. But why didn't I go mining? It's easier. Well, I don't like mining, and trust me, my terrible RNG with diamonds will not get me far. Well, what do you know, a diamond chestplate in the first end city I find. And even while exploring a little more of the city, I found diamond boots! This is what happens when a tarantula hawk stings a spider. And here's fighting with two rapiers looks like. Day 54, I added protection, thorns, and unbreaking to my diamond chestplate. Chapter 14, Extending Excellence. Day 55, I went back to the Nether to find a drop bear. I managed to find one and killed them with my looting 3 glaive. Remember the elastic tendons from part 2? Well, I used them to craft the tendon whip, finally. I enchanted my tendon whip with knockback and smite. The only problem here is that the majority of the bosses in this game are not undead creatures, which Smite 5 is really good at. So, I decided to go out at night and kill as many mobs as I can find so I can get all that juicy XP. The amazing thing about the tendon whip is that it can hit from a far distance and attack multiple mobs, plus it has aimbot. The only downsides to this weapon is that it has the same attack speed of an axe, and it also has the base attack of 5 damage. But to make up for its low damage and slow attack speed, you can literally run while not being slowed every time you attack, which is amazing, and it's also pretty OP for PvPing. After removing Smite and Knockback, I added Sharpness, which is a lot better than what I already had. Finally, I added Mending to my Tendon Whip. Chapter 15, Destroyer of Cads. Day 58, I wanted to find a mushroom biome. There is something there that I need. While traveling, I found an ocean ruins, and it had a buried treasure map. Well, I decided to put this aside and try to find it later. Now, this is the thing I need. Sorry pal, but I need you for my experiment. Anyway, day 59, I went in search of the buried treasure. It was all fun and games until I started hearing tridents being thrown at me. There apparently was a shipwreck and an ocean ruins nearby with so many drowned guarding it. The loot was not bad. A little more digging and I finally found the chest with gold, diamonds, and a heart of the sea. Before day 60, I returned to the Nether to capture a crimson mosquito. In case you're wondering, I'm trying to create a Wart Musco, which is a mini boss in the Alex's Mobs mod. So the process of this is that I need to find a Mungus, which is the one that I found in the mushroom biome, put 5 warped fungus on their body, and finally a crimson mosquito needs to suck the blood of it. With the insect in the enclosure, it's time to fight the warped Moscow. After the transformation, he picked me up inside the enclosure and started to attack me. Well, the rest of the fight was pretty underwhelming. I made a little oopsie that my steak wasn't in my hotbar. With the defeat of the beast, I was rewarded with 5 hemolymph sacs and 1 warped muscle. Combine the drops with 1 blood sprayer, 1 proboscis, and 1 mimicream, we have the hemolymph blaster. This is amazing. Chapter 16, Purging Parasitism. Day 61, I started to work on my storage room. Also a little bit of decorating, adding signs to label the barrels in my storage room, a little more organizing. Before day 62, I started to work on preparations before the Voidworm fight. So I made 1 more gapple in order to survive the Voidworm's attacks. Day 62, before returning to the end, I made sure to store all my items in the barrels and only taking what is necessary. I threw the mysterious worm into the void and it's time to fight. Now, to talk about the Voidworm. The Voidworm shoots deadly homing projectiles at you. They may not deal lots of damage, but they can make quite the impact on your armor. But when there's little damage, there's high quantity. The Voidworm can even charge at you, dealing more damage than its crystals. However, one weapon can really turn the tables of this fight, the Tendon Whip. It always goes for the head, no matter where you aim. Another thing about the Voidworm is that you must always go for the head. You cannot go for any other body part or else it will make the boss fight even harder. But why should you go only for the head? First of all, if you kill one of its body parts, it will split into 2 bosses, even to 4. I am also using better combat, which means all the weapons will do a swipe attack instead of a critical hit, which is not really good for a Voidworm fight. The rest of the fight was pretty easy. The final strike and we've defeated the second boss. With the death of the Voidworm, it left this weird thing, I don't know what to call it, and it has the mandibles and the eye, which can be used to craft the dimensional carver. But it needs netherite. Chapter 17, Aquarium Life. Day 63. I was making another villager hut to add a librarian in. However, I was really lazy to actually make it look good, so I just built it with plain old oak planks. When the hut was complete, I started to do some trade resetting to get Silk Touch, and just before day 64, I traded with him to obtain the Silk Touch. I added the Silk Touch to my new Emerald Pickaxe. Later, I decided to fly to the coral reef. I wanted to collect some corals to add to my aquarium. My brain was probably pea-sized at this moment because I forgot to bring my respiration helmet. Some corals and sea pickles later, I returned home, taking care of the apocalypse on day 64. Now it's time to begin working on the aquarium. I started off with kelp, then corals. Day 65, I collected sandstone and sand. Day 66, I collected bamboo that I can use to make scaffolding. I didn't really like the design of the aquarium in the bottom, so I decided to do something. I made a platform near the top of the aquarium. The top of the aquarium is where I wanted to put the coral. Well, the majority of the coral is going on the top. For the bottom, regular corals will be found. The first inhabitant of the aquarium is going to be my yellow axolotl. I got this axolotl at least 60 days ago. Day 67, I caught a tropical fish to add to my aquarium. But I was really dumb and I forgot that axolotls eat tropical fish. Day 68, I somehow lost all of the lobster tails, so I returned to the beach to get more lobster tails. Why do I need lobster tails? I need them for taming a mimic octopus, which I want to add to my aquarium. I then returned to the coral reef to find it. It took me longer than I expected, but I managed to find it and tame it. After returning home and placing the octopus in the aquarium, it was really painful and lots of internal suffering was involved trying to get out of the aquarium because my axolotl keeps on trying to get out. Doing some random things, I tried to do a scaffolding third-person clutch. I failed the first try, but I did it successfully on the second. At least destroying a tower of scaffolding is pretty satisfying. Chapter 18, Nether Nightmare. Day 69, Preparations for Nether Exploration. While the meat was cooking, I decided to make a staircase leading to the sea. I was welcomed to the Nether with some lovely gentlemen. While exploring the Nether, I mined all the Nether quartz I could find to repair my pickaxe. By the way, don't use Tendon Whip near zombie piglins, or this could happen. If you have watched part 6, you will know that the Tendon Whip can hit more than one enemy, and that is what exactly happened here. I was trying to fight a crimson mosquito, and it hit also the zombie piglin. So, I was chased throughout the whole Nether fortress until I managed to get out. I also brought my elytra with me, so I was able to travel around the Nether faster. I was looking for a bastion, but knowing my game RNG, I'm never gonna find one unless I do so with the /locate. After flying for a while, I ended up in the Soul Sand Valley. But guess what? Trouble was already waiting for me there. A ghast was right behind me, and I started to panic, mindlessly mining my way, and all failing terribly at knocking back its projectiles. I tried running away as fast as I can, but another stupid ghast was waiting for me. But I successfully hit it with a bow shot, so that was taken care of. However, I eventually got really bored at mindlessly exploring the Nether, so I just died in the lava purposely. Before day 71, I decided to go mining for some netherite. I crafted a bunch of beds, then mined all the way to the appropriate level. But after all of the beds, no netherite. So I ultimately just stopped the live stream and just took a break because I was really bored. Honestly, I'm not the type of Minecraft player that would grind for long hours, literally trying to get netherite. I'm more of a rather slow-paced person, and would just be content even with diamond armor. Chapter 19, Decoration Lite. Day 72. I decided to do a little bit of decorating. I also started to work on my kitchen. I also made a cooking pot, and apparently it needs a bucket of water to craft it, even though it clearly doesn't have water inside it. Nevertheless, I crafted it and got the achievement, Dinner Served. I also made a couple cabinets to add to my kitchen. However, I think I added too much oak to this house. I think I should have used spruce. What do you think? Day 73, I decided to add a potted flowering azalea to my kitchen. And again, I returned to the Nether. If you have watched part 7, then you will know that I don't really like grinding, so I decided to find a bastion to get netherite from it. However, it didn't last very long and I died because I failed my elytra landing. Day 74, I added a dining table to my house. I then bone mealed some moss blocks to try to get azalea bushes. Day 75, I was trying to figure out how I was gonna make this living room look nice. During dusk, I decided to add a couple azalea trees at the back of my house since I didn't want it to look bland. Chapter 20, Bastions and Beasts. And once again, I returned to the Nether to find a bastion. First, I set my nature's compass to find a basalt delta. When I made it there, a creature called the Straddler was waiting for me there, which flings its own young at me. After knocking me down in a pit, a stupid gas was waiting for me. This is the best experience I've ever had in the Nether so far. Here's a better look at the Straddler. Hands out for the Worst Parent of the Year award. After searching for 15 minutes, I gave up, and I did the /locate command. Yes, I know, I cheated, but I was really bored, and I knew that I won't be able to find one in an hour. After teleporting to the location, I slowly made my way down to the bastion, looting the chest while I was getting bashed by piglins. Well, this is the advantage of a tendon whip. I can just run and spam attack. After the onslaught, I went in search of chest. I found a double chest. Just to let you know, it's day 76. And once again, because of boredom, I did another /locate. Except this bastion was way harder because there were these stupid hoglins. Now it's just a sprint plus attack strategy. Except there are hoglins and zombie piglins added to the mix. After clearing out the onslaught, I went on chest looting. One of them apparently had a diamond knife with knockback 2. The second was pretty mediocre. I then tried to find some of the hidden chests, but none of them had netherite, unfortunately. After dying and respawning back home, I put away all of my loot. Chapter 21, Weapon Collection. Day 77, bone mealing moss for carpets and trees. Day 78, I decided to complete the Alex's Mobs weapon set. This version is before the Forest Friends update. I currently have the Tendon Whip, Hemolymph Blaster, and Blood Sprayer, but I'm still missing the Scalawag Skull, Pocket of Sand, and the Shield of the Deep. I first made the Pocket of Sand, which requires 1 Guster Eye, 5 leather, and 3 sand. This weapon uses sand as ammunition, but it deals very low damage, and it can apparently blind enemies, but I'm not really sure if it works. I then went in search of a shipwreck to find scalawags to harvest their skulls. It didn't take very long, but I managed to find one with a lot of scalawags roaming around it. I killed all of them, and they didn't drop 1, but 3 scalawag skulls. While exploring, I found a frilled shark. This is a creature that I need in order to obtain the Shield of the Deep. The Scalawag Skull is actually compatible with better combat, so you can dual wield with them. As you can see, the Scalawag Skull has slightly more damage than a regular wooden sword. But it has an attack speed of 4, which is the highest attack speed in the game. It also has slightly less range than a sword. Use better combat to actually wield 2 of them at the same time, you get an average attack speed of 8. Day 79. To craft the Shield of the Deep, I will need 2 shark teeth. To obtain shark teeth, you can either obtain them by bartering with a seal, or waiting for a hammerhead shark to tackle the prey until a tooth pops out. I then traveled to a frozen ocean in order to find seals. Arriving at my destination, I found an orca, and when you swim with an orca, you receive the orca's might effect, which greatly increases your attack speed. To trade with a seal, you just have to throw fish at their faces. They will eventually eat the fish, and then will dive into the water to dig up a random item to give you. However, the likelihood of you getting a shark tooth from a seal is pretty low. I mostly got clay. As you can see, 26 clay. In order to not leave the frozen ocean empty-handed, I decided to capture a comb jelly to add to my aquarium. I also killed some, and ate the rainbow jelly it dropped. My whole body became rainbow. Returning home, I added rainbow jelly to 3 of my pets. I was also making a temporary enclosure for my orca. I caught it with a mob capturing tool. However, this big cage turned out to be a big waste of time, so let's just forget that this ever happened. Day 81, nothing special, just taking pictures for a thumbnail. Day 82, I crafted a bunch of bread because I need it for my adventure ahead. Traveling to the deep ocean. However, arriving at the deep ocean, I forgot that you need prismarine to craft the shield of the deep, so I died. Day 83, I used chunk base to find the ocean monument, since my deadline was only 17 days away and I knew that I wouldn't be able to find an ocean monument before day 100. And while taking out my dragon, the game thought that he fell from a very high place. What's wrong with Minecraft? Okay, after the death of my dragon, I spawned him back in off camera. But I forgot to start the stream again. I found an ocean monument off camera and killed as many guardians as I can to make 3 prismarine bricks, which is needed to craft the shield of the deep. I used chunk base to locate the ocean monument, and I obtained 1 sponge and probably 29 prismarine shards from that whole skirmish. Day 84, I caught a frilled shark. Day 85, live feeding squid to get serrated shark teeth from a frilled shark. Serrated shark teeth is required in order to make the shield of the deep. Day 86, after collecting all the serrated shark teeth, I traveled to the coral reef in order to get regular shark. Hammerhead sharks have a chance to drop one of their many teeth if they attack prey. After collecting the last shark teeth, which took all the way until night, I returned home and finally craft the shield of the deep. The shield of the deep is not your ordinary shield. If a player or mob attacks you when you're holding out the shield only through melee, they'll receive an effect called exsanguination. Exsanguination is kinda like the wither effect, but a little shorter. Day 87, I tried figuring out on which weapon to use to combo with my shield. Twin blade? No, you can't use them with shields. Spear? Yes, I can use it with my shield. But I realized I actually have a trident, so I decided to use it instead to pair with my shield. Day 88, I added mending to my trident. I mostly spent the night hunting monsters in order to fix my trident. Remember that you can throw tridents? Yes, so I can't pair them with shields, because instead, right click will just cause me to throw the trident. Chapter 22, Withering Heights. Before day 90, I decided to hunt wither skeletons, because I wanted to defeat the wither before day 100. From day 89 to 92, I stayed in the Nether, in order to fight off as many wither skeletons and get their skulls. Night of day 92, I dug out a hole in order to summon the wither boss. And now, the fight begins. If I didn't fight the wither underground, this fight would have been way harder. This fight is harder than the Warped Moscow fight, because I will have to endure so many hits and always be in constant wither effect. A few more hits with the glaive and the boss is defeated. Chapter 23, Echoing Darkness. And day 93, I decided to find an ancient city using chunk base, because I won't be able to find it before day 100 again. Oh, want to talk about how many times I died in here? Eventually, I got fed up and caught one in a mob capturing tool. Day 94, I decided to fight the warden at the place where I fought the wither. And yes, I died once, obviously. Maybe twice. Nope, it was thrice. This probably proves of how bad I am at Minecraft. Using rapiers for high DPS and tanking a couple hits, finally it's dead. And there we go, I've defeated all the bosses before day 100. Well, I'm not sure if I really earned the last one. Chapter 24, The Last Days. Day 95, I decided to make a pedestal in order to display the skull catalyst that the warden dropped. Day 96, I displayed a couple of the trophies that I received during the boss fight. At the back of my house, I grew a couple azalea trees and added some lanterns to them. At night, I decided to make a path, filling it with cobblestone and quartz dirt to make it look nice. Day 97, I added a couple lanterns to illuminate the path. I also added some glowberries to the outside of my house. Day 98, I made an armor stand. And if you put armor on an armor stand, apparently your game crashes. Okay, here's some footage of me accidentally killing my pets. Day 99, I added some leaves to add a little bit of life to my house. A couple more random decorations. Day 100, I decided to prepare myself a special meal before the end of day 100. And that meal is steak and potatoes. Sitting at the roof of my house, I ate my steak and potatoes and just watched the starry night. And that is the end of my first 100 days in modded Minecraft. Thank you guys so much for watching my first 100 days series. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to your friends and family. Bye!